Medical marijuana increasingly being used across the country. Well, that takes us to this week's case. It involves a real woman, Carol Whitmire. Now, Carol worked and lived in Arizona. She worked for Walmart. Walmart was advised by Carol that Carol, was using medical marijuana. She was using it to deal with arthritic pain. All right, time moves forward. Carol was doing her job. She was leveling some large bags of ice when one of the bags fell on her wrist. She suffered an injury. She was taken to an urgent care clinic, received care. Following the injury, Walmart, pursuant to its normal activity, administered a drug test. It administered the drug test because it wanted to make sure that Carol, was not suffering from the effects of any illicit drug. Well, not unsurprisingly, it found that she was, in fact, under the influence of marijuana, or at least there was marijuana residual in her system. And then Walmart fired Carol. Carol wasn't happy with this, needless to say, hired an attorney and brought suit against Walmart. She argued, wait a second, you knew I was using medical marijuana. And in this instance, importantly, after you did the drug test, you did not find in any way that my use of medical marijuana caused the accident which caused my injury. Therefore, and also, importantly, your firing me basically violates the protections I have under Arizona law allowing use of medical marijuana. Walmart argued on the other side, saying, hang on a second, we have an obligation to make sure we have a safe workplace. That safe workplace can only be ensured through having our employees held to a high standard with regard to use of drugs. Marijuana is still a drug. Marijuana can basically change the way in which you're approaching the world, and therefore we want to make sure that that marijuana did not, in fact, cause the accident. And we had every right to undergo that test, and we had every right to fire you when we found that you were under the influence of medical marijuana. Okay, case goes to a U.S. federal district court. There the judge had to hear both arguments. And after that consideration, the judge came away and said, I agree with the attorneys for Carol. I agree with Carol Whitmire because, importantly, I find that Walmart failed to show that the use of the medical marijuana in any way contributed to the accident. They lacked that proof. Therefore, I find that their termination of Carol was improper, basically under the laws of Arizona, was unlawful, and accordingly, I find that Carol, in fact, was wronged in this instance with a wrongful termination. Okay, so what do we learn from this case? First of all, it's very important, this case was decided in Arizona. The various states, and we've got 50 states here, have various approaches to the use of medical marijuana. In this particular instance, there was a statute in Arizona that protected the use of medical marijuana. Each state's going to vary. Before you decide to run out there and begin utilizing very freely the medical marijuana prescription you have, better check with your state, see what the law is there. Also, communicate with your HR department, make sure they understand what's going on. But the one thing we did learn, that at least in Arizona, in this particular instance, a U.S. federal district court found that an employee who is using medical marijuana has a right to use that medical marijuana, and unless the employer, in this instance Walmart, can show that the use in some way caused the accident, well, that use was lawful. Hey, bringing cases every week so you understand how the law works. I'm David Allen.